Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to go through just some announcements and just make sure you guys are up to speed. They are posted in our group, so like feel free to like tag your people in it and whatnot, but just to make sure you guys are like all good with everything. A little bit of recognition, we'll get into the team call, and then we are going to do a little bit of Q&A at the end. So if you guys could all just mute for me right now, that would be awesome. And if there's anybody who like you believe should be on this call right now, your upline, your downline, your customers, please just give them a little nudge. There's so many exciting things happening with Isagenix right now that we just want to keep as many people plugged in as possible. So I think the number one thing that we are hearing from people right now is the long wait times with customer service. That's because we acquired another company. They're working on it. I'm sure they're hiring people. There's like worse problems to have in terms of like companies that are really suffering right now. But when it comes to customer care, empathize with your people, maybe offer to do the calls for them. You know, like we can multitask. So like some of us that are doing this, like I had a couple of people that needed to make some exchanges, some things that were going on. I said, what is it you need me to do? And I did a load of laundry. Like I was like putting on makeup. Like if you're going to hold, you know, you don't have to just like sit there and hold the phone, like multitask, but take that on for our people and just say, hey, I will help you. They can always do the chat, you know, the instant message chat, they can email, but we are aware kind of what is happening. Who saw the promo today and is already excited? Kisa has a brand new girl that's already like 2 for 5, but that's super excited, you guys. So the 2.0 kickoff bonus, if you enroll 5 people with 100 business volume or more between August 10th and the 23rd, you're going to get an extra $200. So they're just like keeping the momentum going, the enrollment's going, especially as like August, kids are going back to school. Some of them, it's virtual, it's not. Kids are at home, they're doing the pods. Like it's kind of a chaos. And so Isagenix is really just incentivizing us, of course, to keep sharing, keep helping these families stay healthy, keep showing them another way to make income. So I would love to see like so many of you guys grab that. Just keep track of it. I mean, get a little whiteboard, keep a tally, you know, like just make sure you get 5 people in the next couple weeks. And in terms of things that are out of stock, I mean, it's temporary, you guys. It's temporary. Of all the products, like if someone's like really in a fussy over a flavor of whey thins, we have other ones. It's a great time for them to try something new, but just work with them. And Isagenix has been offering like product coupons. They've been offering shipping coupons. They've been giving out samples of other things. So if they're really bummed that they can't get something that like we're out of right now, just make sure that we're working with them so we always are delivering the best customer service. So that being said, I'm just going to dive into a little bit of recognition. And I think Kisa did some of this last week, but I'm not totally sure. I was off celebrating that I was married. So I'm grateful that Kisa did the call. But first of all, I want to celebrate Jara. She is one of our newest consultants. Ashley's doing a great job coaching her and mentoring her. Then we have 2 Lories. I want to celebrate Lisa and Kimberly for rank advancing your team. Brandon, huge kudos to Paula for promoting him. And then also Michaela had like a massive week, and Kari is doing a great job mentoring her. So we've got a couple people on the cusp of manager. Alicia is one of them. Mary Beery is one of them. And I'm just super, super excited. And as we go into our Grow Week, so much of this is focused on enrollment. So I want to recognize top enrollers last week, Kelly Magpion, again, Lisa Mann, and then of course Kisa, who's not on, she's celebrating her birthday, but also get you guys to understand that there is just as much importance in developing your team as enrolling your people, right? So we always are going to, you know, share our products. We always are going to have wonderful, wonderful amounts of customers and people that are loving their product transformation. However, we also really want to be obsessed with getting our people paid, right? We really, really want to help people get paid. And so in a week like Grow Week, there should be as much focus in not only bringing in new customers, but also showing these people how to get on the Eat for Free program, right? Showing people how to get their products paid for. And so this call, what I want to talk to you guys a little bit right now is the Grow Week and kind of what to expect like that, and what Blitz Week is all about, when the next one will be, why we did it this week, all of that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about personal development and why this is so important for your Isagenix business. And then we're going to end with a Q&A that's tonight focused on connecting and follow-up. So I know a couple weeks ago we did one on objections, and you guys are just going to see like general topics that give you a chance to kind of ask questions and learn from other leaders so that you really can apply some of the things that we are training on. So in no particular order, I really want to talk to you about this idea of personal development. And the longer you're in network marketing, you'll really understand how important this is. But there's a phrase that I remember when I first heard, I like literally rolled my eyes to, you know, I was like, come on, get out of here, you know, that is, your business will only grow to the extent you grow yourself. And the more that I hear it and the more that I've seen it, not just in my own business, but in many, many others, hundreds, thousands of others, that really comes to fruition. And one of the things you'll see is that the more personal growth that you do, the more likely you are to respond to something instead of react to something. And a response is being very proactive, very calm, handling a situation, and reacting is usually like stemming from defending yourself, right? It's coming from a negative place. It's coming from a like, you know, a little bit of a freak out instead of being calm. And when you understand our business, and we're constantly dealing with people, like we're dealing with a lot of women, I'm just gonna put it out there, right? A lot of estrogen, but we're dealing with a lot of people. We're dealing with a lot of emotions. You know, people have the fear of rejection when they're building this business. You know, they have the fear of what people are gonna think of them when they're sharing a transformation. They have a fear of failure. Is like this going to work with them? You know, there's excitement of dreams and goals and aspirations. And there's so much to this besides that brown box, right? Like when you hear us talk about like the brown box that changed our life, there's so much to it. And we really have to recognize that we're handling people's lives, right? It's not a 200 BV. It's not a $300 order. It's not just a PIV. That these are human lives. These are people that we care about, that we're working on. But with that comes the highs and the lows. So usually in the same week, sometimes it's in the same day, you're like, oh my gosh, I just enrolled my second value pack. And you're like, that's $400 in extra bonuses. And you're super excited, right? You're going to go do a staycation or go get a massage or a facial or pay your cell phone bill or whatever. And the next thing you know, you have like 3 returns, you know, like this person had diarrhea, this person went to another company, this person wants to eat fast food all day long, like whatever it is. And you're like, what am I doing wrong? And the way that you have to weather your emotions in the beginning of this is really setting you up for things that you will deal with the larger your business grows. So I can tell you that, you know, when I started and someone being like, I don't like your products, they taste funny, I get a headache when I drink your shakes. Like that's prepping you for when you're making over 6 figures a year and someone leaves to another company. Like you have to be able to weather that emotion. You have to be able to have the stability, the confidence, the clarity, the vision. Okay. When you are trying to mentor other people, people truly buy things on a product standpoint, but they will be led by people they know, like, and trust. So if they're going to trust you, that means that you have to be confident, right? That you have to have a vision, that you have to have a skill set. And I will tell you, and Laura's like laughing, she'll chime in here in the chat. I was not always like this, not even close, right? I mean, I was really impatient. I was really terse. I was like really like self-motivated and didn't even realize the magnitude of like leading a team and like their group ripple effect. But it's really true. And so when you're sitting here saying, okay, I've gotten good at posting on social media, I'm getting good at bringing in some customers, how can I shift from making, you know, $100 or $200 a month to $100 or $200 a week? How can I shift from making a few $100 a month to a few $1,000s a month, right? And all of this is coming down to personal growth, all of it. And I truly, truly cannot encourage you enough to build this into your daily habits. I'm not saying monthly habits. I'm not saying weekly habits, daily habits, the same way you consume Isagenix, that we know we have to fuel our bodies and we do shakes or we do the cleanse or we take Ionic Supreme and we take our vitamins. And these are things we do every single day because it's going to nourish us from the inside out. You have a choice every single day to fuel your brain with weeds or to fuel it with flowers, right? And like, I don't mean to make like such a cheesy analogy, but it's true. Like you can bombard yourself with toxic thoughts and toxic energy and toxic emotions from the time you wake up. And that is exactly how you're going to show up in the world. And that is exactly who you're going to attract. or you can make a commitment to do affirmations, to listen to podcasts, to read books, to listen to things, whether it's podcasts, if it's, sermons, if it's faith-based, that just fuel your mind for a growth mindset, because that's what you're going to see more of in the world. And that is also what you're going to attract more into. So I will tell you guys, I know that right now we are in such an insane climate, right? I'm just going to leave it at that it's unfamiliar, it's divided, it's uncomfortable, there's negativity, there's so much happening. But the place that we're at, if we truly come from servant leadership and we truly want to leave people better than we found them, and we know we can impact their lives physically or financially or emotionally, this is not the time to be right. This is the time to just help other people. This is the time to show up as a positive person, keep some of your opinions to yourself, and just how can I help you? How can I make your life better? And for over 7 years, you guys, I have branded myself somewhat intentionally and somewhat authentically that I am positive, that I'm accepting, that I am loving, that I am forgiving, that I am vulnerable, that I am encouraging, right? Like those are things that I know I have done a really good job of on social media. But the point being that when I message someone or I comment, people aren't guarded. Right? Like people aren't like, oh, what does she want to do with me? Like what, she must have ulterior motive. Here comes this malicious, like sales, like crow, like diving in as a vulture, right? Like people don't get that. When I cold market message people on Instagram, they're like, oh my gosh, I've been following you for a long time. Like, what made you want to reach out to me? Or like, it's so nice to actually talk to you. I see all of your posts and like, you are exactly the things you post about. But I didn't used to be that way, right? And I will tell you, when I very, very, very first started Isagenix, I was having a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day. And I bitched about it all over Facebook. Laura, you may not have even joined Isagenix yet. This is how early on it was, okay? I mean, like very, very on. I'm bitching about my speeding ticket and like my coffee spilled everywhere and I hate my jobs. And I just was like, nobody cares, right? Like actually nobody really cared that I was having a terrible day, but I was using it as an outlet. And I remember Janie being like, take that down. Like, get that down, take that down. Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, but, and she was like, take it down. I was like, okay. And there was like this moment that I'm like, what's the point? Now I ruin everybody else's bad day because I had a bad day. Like, that's not really how we show up, but this is that process of personal growth. And so whether this personal growth has to do with, I have become an expert at understanding network marketing. I mean, on my wedding night, and my sister can tell you this, Alex can tell you that. I mean, it's midnight and we're all overserved, and I'm sitting around a fire pit having a conversation about a different company's compensation plan because I understand this industry, right? And they're asking questions. I'm like, well, and that's because I got to work to learn this. I said, if I want to do this full time, I want to be able to impact hundreds of thousands of lives. I have to go first. I can't expect everybody else to know this industry if I'm not learning it, right? That's part of the personal growth. It's part of being able to like let the small stuff go. I mean, it doesn't mean I'm like not human and I don't have emotions and I don't take things personally, right? But it's about choosing your battles. So one of the best books that I've ever read was The 4 Agreements. And I live my life by it, So even when things really get to my core, I'm like, am I being impeccable with my word? Did I do the very best that I could? Another one that has been huge for me is Go Giver. I know Rachel loves this book too. And if you guys have never read that, the 5th law is being able to receive. Like, I actually don't like the center of attention on me. Like most people say, like when it actually happens, it's like kind of awkward, It's like, I've always been like, okay, thanks. Like next, like this is uncomfortable. But part of being able to give to other people is also being able to receive that. So we've all given a gift to someone, right? And you're so excited and you've packed it in like great wrapping paper or like a beautiful bag. You've put a lot of thought into it, right? Think about it, even when you've given it to like a child and they're kind of like, thanks. And it's like dismisses it. It's like so deflating because you put in so much effort and so much love to do something for someone else. And when it's kind of like unnoticed, right, or dismissed, you're like, I mean, that's the same thing with the Go Giver. Like you can only pour into other people's cups as much as you fill your own. And part of that is being able to receive what other people do for you. So if anybody right now in the chat wants to blow up books or podcasts of things that have helped you, things that have been important to you, I will rattle off a few. But I love David Wood. I love his podcast. I love Jay Shetty. I listen to Eric Worre. I love Jack Canfield. I love Lisa Nichols. I love John Maxwell, Tony Robbins. Okay, like these are people I listen to on a day-to-day basis. If you're wanting to grow your like belief in this business, you know, business of the 21st century, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. There's so many out there, right? And I don't want to do this training just on that, but I want you to be like real honest. Like if your business hasn't grown in the last 90 days, what have you done to grow yourself? You know, do you start your day listening to the news and scrolling through social media, or do you start your day with affirmations? You know, like Ryan laughs at me because I do. I'm like this little girl in the mirror that's like, I'm a badass, I'm fired up, I'm a force that can't be reckoned to, and I'm gonna go impact some lives today. And he's like, how long have you been doing this? I'm like, 6.5 years. What are you grateful for? And he's like, I'm like, what are you grateful for? You know, like this is how we start our day. And people think like we're joking until they're actually around. I'm like, oh my gosh, she really is insane at 6 o'clock in the morning doing that. And I also end my day not scrolling on social media and not reading the news and not scrolling through the newspaper, but saying like, what was the best thing that happened to me today? What was the very best thing that happened to me? What was the best thing I did for somebody else today? You know, and to go to bed thinking about those things, because the quicker you realize that this business is all energy, the more fun you're going to have and the more success you're going to have. Because there's only so much effort that can go into learning what to say to someone, right? If you've never listened to Simon Sinek, The Golden Circle, and it starts with why, it has nothing to do with the ingredients and the products. It has nothing to do with our compensation plan. It's why you're in love with this and why you think it could benefit somebody else. But to be able to share that experience, right, that's the personal growth. That's you being able to be vulnerable and say, I don't have to know everything. I just have to tell them what's important to me, what I think is going to be important to them, right? So this business and the way people attract into you again is the energy you put out there. If you're so focused that you haven't enrolled enough people, if you're focused that your cycles aren't where they are, if you're focused that you aren't at a certain rank, you will never bring in the people that you want to. But when you are grateful for what you have right now and you are confident, you trust that it's going to happen with consistency and all the work, people will just start coming to you. And I can tell you there are people that have hit momentum on this call right now. Jules has experienced it, right? Kathy Rowland has experienced it. Jenny Thompson has experienced it, where it's literally like, I don't know where people are coming from. Like they're just showing up. And that's because you literally have a choice every single day to be a shield or to be a magnet. And if you show up as a negative person that's miserable and angry and unhappy and judgmental, and you just want to point the finger at what everybody else is doing wrong, no one wants to be around you. And it has nothing to do with the shakes and the cleanse. But when you show up as a positive person and you're funny and you're outgoing and you're encouraging and you inspire, you know, a different way of life, people don't care what you're selling. They just want to figure out how to hang out with you more often. They just want to figure out how to be a part of what you're doing. So I really just want to wrap this little piece up, that if your business is not where you want it to be right now, start doing the personal development. And that doesn't mean you need to do it 2 hours a day. You can do it 10 minutes a day. That means the first 10, 20, 30 things you say to yourself are positive. You know, like you guys, if you've never heard, there's a talk I did at a Super Saturday a few years ago, but I opened it up saying, like, I remember there was a time in my life that within the first hour of the day, I'd probably said 1,000 negative things to myself. Like, I'm not kidding. From the time I got dressed to being in the shower to how I felt at the gym, like just negative thought, things you would not say to your worst enemy. We tell ourselves, right? You have got to work on yourself every single day. Like, you've got to make sure that you're loving yourself. So that means you're curling your hair. Tell yourself affirmations. You know, I remember when I would go into yoga and I would like get in the front and I would just look in the mirror and just picture like that little cat that sees like this massive lion, you know, and I was like building my business and I was like, I'm the next Susan Sly, like bring it on, Emily Baber, right? Because you have to create this, like you have to create your reality. And so whether you're doing affirmations, you're listening to a podcast, you're reading a book, you're listening to worship, you're doing something that's flooding your brain with positivity, I encourage you, start and end your day with that. 5 or 10 minutes a day. I mean, Jimmy Smith always says the richest people are the best readers. He's read more books than anyone I know, but he literally says he does it 10 pages first thing in the morning and 10 pages before bed. I mean, just imagine if you did that for a month. I can only imagine the success that all of you guys would start to see, and not just in your Isagenix business. It'll affect your friendships. It'll affect your relationship. It'll affect your relationship with food. It'll affect your fitness, because it's what you focus on will grow. And if you're focused on all this positivity, and if you're focusing on all of the things you want instead of all the things you don't want, you're going to see more of it, and you're going to figure out a way to do that. Okay. So leading into our grow week, for those of you that are like, this is my first team call and what's a grow week, basically starting off the 90-day game plan, every 30 days, we are doing a blitz week that we're rank advancing together. So our very, very, very newest customers, we're helping them get on the Eat for Free program, and our most seasoned, strongest leaders who have been with the company for 5+ years, we're trying to get them to the next level. And so if you guys did not look at the PDF that I posted today, and it's a file, save it, print it off. It breaks down exactly what you should be doing every single day, from the 5 to 10, 15 minutes of meditation to how many calls, how many videos, and like what these goals are. But basically between now and at midnight Eastern time on the 17th, right, or 11:59 or whatever, and 10 o'clock my time on Sunday, we want to have massive momentum. I mean, imagine if every single person in our team could enroll at least 2 new people this week, right? Imagine if every single one of us could create a new consultant, if we could create a new manager, and that's the focus on that. So some of the things that I have created for you guys to be able to use, we're doing the power hours. So we did one today at noon, right? There are 3 more scheduled. So we have tomorrow night, we have Wednesday morning, and we have Thursday morning. So that's accountability. But in that hour, there's a list of things to do. But today, you guys, I encourage people to message over 20 people. I think we had 11 people on it. Do you remember, Laura? I think there was 11, because I was thinking, think about how many people right now are getting told about Isagenix, are reaching out, asking them to take a look, right? Asking them to be inspired, asking them if they want to make a change, asking them if they want to make more money, like whatever that may be. And we're going to do the same thing tomorrow, the same thing Wednesday, the same thing Thursday. And I can be real honest. There's so many times I'm like, I'm going to message a whole bunch of people, and I sit down and I pay bills and I shop on Amazon and I scroll through Facebook, right? And I do all this other stuff. And it doesn't happen. When you're on that power hour and everybody's looking at you and you are either doing this or you're not doing this, it works. So I encourage you guys, if you can't get on all of them, try to at least get on one of them. I'm also doing an opportunity call on Wednesday night. So it'll be about 30-ish minutes long. And I'm telling you that because I want you guys to be transparent with the people that you're inviting to it. Like, don't be like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to hop on this call? Because then they're pissed off that they're on there too long. But it will definitely be under an hour. And my goal is to keep it around 30 minutes. And it's going to be about 10 minutes, company history, the industry. It's going to be about 10 minutes product, and it's going to be about 10 minutes business. But this is not only for current builders that want to learn how to do this and then learn more and be able to take on doing similar presentations, but it's for new people. We absolutely want you to be inviting new people to it, right? So this is when it comes to verbiage, to be able to message people and just say hey, I'm not sure if you've seen what I've been up to. I'm not sure if you're seeing what I'm doing, but I'm super excited to introduce you to this amazing presentation. I would love for you to take a look at what I'm doing. Or, my friend is hosting this call. It's super short. She's going to share with you a little bit about the products, a little bit about the opportunity. I'd love for you to join us, whatever that may be. That I would love for you guys to promote that. I mean, my goal would be to have 50 to 100 people on there, right? And the majority brand new, just brand new people that are excited about 2.0, that are excited about taking a transformation in their health, that are excited about making more money, that are excited about personal development, whatever that may be. If you guys have not noticed the massive trend in side hustles increasing again from where it was a few years ago, this is the time to pay attention, because people, number one, don't have work. I hate to talk about it because it just breaks my heart, but it's the reality. People are out of work and they're trying to figure out how to bring in extra money right now. But the other that we're starting to see, especially as the kids are going back to school, even virtually, is there are parents that are like, I can't do my full-time job and be a full-time teacher. And they're going, what am I going to do? Like, we have got to be so bold that we have a solution, that we have ways to help people, that we have an opportunity at hand. In this season right now, where the demand is still so freaking high for wellness products and so high for work from home opportunity, like, we have an obligation to talk to people about it. So I'm going to bring this all circle around. When I was telling you that I am, intentionally positive on social media, it's not fake. When I say intentionally, it means that I'm conscious that I don't put my opinion on things. I'm conscious that I'm not bitching, that I'm not negative, because I don't want to offend anybody. Like, whether you are voting for Trump or you're voting for Biden, you still need to freaking cleanse, right? Like, it's not up to me to decide what these people want to do. And so I just stay out of that stuff, right? That's what I'm saying, intentional. I'm not fake. It's just not a place I want to be, okay? And when I had my nutrition practice, it was the same way. And I just kind of respect the boundaries of that. But today in the power hour, when I was messaging a ton of people, like, it was really fun to be able to connect with people and be excited. But people weren't like, oh, she pissed me off last week with her post. Or like, oh, yeah, I can't believe she just wrote me, because she's actually been insulting my family the last month with the things she's been doing. Like, I don't have to worry about that. And so as I'm going to kind of lead up to, I want you guys to ask me some Q&A and connecting and follow-ups. Like, I will message people, and I'm using Penny. Laura's actually our guest trainer next week. She's going to be training on Penny. But all of the connections, all of the reach outs that Penny, the app, is telling me to reach out to. So I click on it, and I click on Facebook to see if I know them or not. Then I go to the messages to be like, have I actually messaged them before? And sometimes I have. I've forgotten, right? So like, someone popped up that I had not talked to since 2017. And I was like, hey, random, right? Like, that's a different conversation than someone I've friended that I have no idea who they are. And so I'll give you some of my examples, which is going to lead into this like Q&A. But I would say something. So hypothetically, I click on Alex, right? And I have no idea who Alex is. Like, we have some mutual friends. She lives in Texas. I mean, this happened a lot, right? Because I friend people all the time. I friend people that I think are influencers, that are positive, that are into health and wellness, that have the same hobbies as me. So I friend people from the, air fryer groups, and from the Peloton groups, and from gardening groups that I don't even remember how I got connected. And I'll just write them, and I would be like, hey, Alex, I'm like, so I'm scrolling through Facebook and I keep landing on your page, and I apologize if I have forgotten how we're connected, but I love your content, I love your energy, and I wanted to introduce myself, right? And normally it goes something like, hey, I don't know how we've gotten connected either. I also like the content on your page. Thanks for reaching out. And then I'm like, what do you do? Right? Like, you start to ask these questions, and then I'll say, they will often say things if you ask the right questions. I'm trying to figure out who's muted or not muted. I think, hold on. I don't know who it was, but now I fixed it. Anyway, so as you get better at asking questions, and you can ask questions that will lead to an answer, you can bring out the solution. That's the skill here. And this takes a little bit of time, but I will start to ask questions like, what do you do? I'm like, oh, has your business been affected at all in the last couple months? It's a no-brainer that people in the health and wellness industry, people in the beauty industry, people that are in the fitness industry, right? Of course, they've been affected. Some people are like, oh, we're growing, or oh, it's been really hard, or oh, my husband's laid off, or you can start to ask questions about what they're doing. And sometimes I'll just say, hey, this may or may not be for you, but if you keep your options open for additional income or for residual income, I would love to tell you about the company that's completely transformed mine and my family's life. Like, I'm so excited about it. I've seen it do ripple effects for thousands of people. This may be something you want to take a look at. Some people don't at all, right? Some people say, yeah, absolutely. What is it, right? But you have to ask those questions. So sometimes when I message people, same type of script, like, hey, Kathy, like, I am not entirely sure how we got connected. I was scrolling through Facebook and I came across your page. I love the things you post about. I just wanted to introduce myself. And she'll say, oh, yeah, I used to take your body pump class. Or she'll say, oh, I think we met at a restaurant a couple years ago. Or they'll say something like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't think I recognize your Facebook page, Same type of thing. What are you doing? How has summer been treating you? And if you can ask the right question that will yield where we can introduce one of our solutions, you'll never run out of people to talk to. You know, so when I ask things like, how are you handling this season? And she's like, oh, it's just really stressful. And, you know, my husband's high risk. And so we haven't seen anybody. And I'll say, well, I don't know what you're doing for your like wellness products, but I'm a part of a company that I truly believe can support long-term health, that boosts immunity and is like simplified the wellness solutions. If you're interested, I would love to tell you more about it. Okay, but you have to ask questions that we can put in the solutions. What I'm never going to do is just cold message 800 people the exact same thing, right? Like, hey, I'm a part of the global health and wellness company. Take a look at this video. I will never do that, right? Each message is personalized. I look at their page. I like a couple things. I comment. I address them by their name. And even if it takes me twice as long, people respond to me. We have all received that automated message. And you're like, oh, they didn't even change the name. They actually called me Brooke. You know, I'm like, hey, that's not me. You did not mean to write me. We don't want to be those people, right? Like we really want to be ambassadors for the industry. And so again, back to personal development, if you're doing the work on yourself, you're going to show up wanting to help other people, right? You're not going to show up chasing dollars and numbers and cycles and PIBs. Yes, we're self-motivated and this is a business. However, we are showing up like I can help people. And I'm so grateful I got paid today and every Monday for the last 7 years. And I want other people to get paid on Monday, right? Like when I think about the size clothes I'm wearing now than in 2013, I'm like, I want everybody to feel that way because I've been on the other side of it. Like that is the heart that you come from and people are gonna respond to you. So just in closing, and then I am happy to stay on with Q&A specifically on connecting and follow-up tonight. I want you guys to really get clear on your grow week and play in your lane. So if you are a brand new consultant and you've never cycled more than 2 times in a week, you're not going 3-star this week, right? Let's be realistic. However, could you hit the 5-cycle bonus? Yes. Could you go manager? Could you enroll 4 people this week? Absolutely. Then I want you to also think about who you are rank advancing. So like I'm working so closely with Alicia, you know how we're getting her to manager? She's got to get her customers paid. There are some brand new customers that we are going to promote to consultant this week. This is the way that that goes. So if I'm increasing my cycles, well, that means I need to help Kisa, and Kisa's going to help Jenny, and Jenny's going to help Amy Conley, right? I'm going to help Alicia, and Alicia's going to help Eva. I'm going to help Laura. Laura's going to help Kathy. Kathy's going to help the other Kathy. Like this is the way that this goes, but getting really clear. We've been talking about this in celebration. You should know right now if you're going 1-star, 2-star, manager, director, 5-cycle bonus, and who you are rank advancing. Susan, I saw in the chat you asked about where the file is. If you go to Dreamers in Action and just hit files, it's the most recent one there. I know sometimes scrolling through the page, things get lost, but just click on files. It's right there. And under the announcement section is where everything is with the Grow Week that has the schedule on it and has like the screenshots of what to be doing daily. We talked about the promo. I can't wait to celebrate some people this week. Like I am confident that there's some people that are going to bring in their 5 enrollments this week. I mean, we've had people that enrolled 7 or 8 people in a week. Like, let's go for it. Like, who needs to wait till the 23rd, right? Like, I would love for you guys to just like bump that deadline up for this week and go after your 5 new customers right away. I encourage you guys to truly do the personal development. You will be shocked at the ripple effect of what this does for you, you know, and literally the domino effect that it has in your business, your relationships, other people. Like, he would kill me if I was telling you this right now, but like Ryan started a new job. He was like a little bit frustrated and I was like, okay, don't make me Taylor Swift you. And he's like, what? You know? And I was like, oh, hey, Alexa, play Shake It Off. And he's like, are you serious? I'm like, you can't show up at your next meeting with all this energy. Like, okay, you got it. Next. You know, you have to show up for that. If I get on the phone with someone and they're yelling at me that customer service is out of this and they're on hold for too long or their shakes came exploded or whatever, right? I can't get on the phone with a 3-way call with Alex who's fired up to help another teacher making an incredible income. I'm like, oh, hi. How's it going? You know, like I'm like, totally, what's up? How are you? Like, it's amazing, you know, but that's the growth. That is literally the work that you guys have to do. So I am done talking for tonight. I'm proud of all of you guys. We're going to need to block out like 10 minutes instead of 5 next week to do all the recognition from this week, but I'm sure you guys have questions on connecting and following up. that I would love to just be available to help you. I know Laura's on, can definitely chime in. My sister just got back from Mexico, but she can probably chime in, you know, to really be able to serve you guys. So please, any questions you have on that, unmute and ask, because you're probably not the only one.
Hey, Lauren, for the Grow Week calls that we're doing, what did you call them, Keith? Bullpens?
Yeah.
Keith was calling them bullpens. He's like, are you in like a bullpen call right now? Do you want us to, are you encouraging us to get on as many of them this week as we can?
Yes. So I don't know what bullpen is, and like the sales of people I know, they call it like call out week, you know, where they have a huge, massive goal, but absolutely get on them. It's actually the agenda that I have for each of them is slightly different, but there's just that accountability and there's that energy. So like if Alicia's just sitting there by herself and watching like her baby sleep and like messaging someone, right? Like it's so much different than when you can see other people do it. And she's like, oh, Keith is on here, and Laura's on here, and Kathy's on here, and Brad's on here, and Lauren's on here, especially in the chat. You're like, oh my gosh, I just set up like 4 ATMs, or like I just got, you know, 3 throwaway calls set up, because it lifts the energy of everybody. So absolutely. Now, that being said, I realize some people have little kids, they can't get on all of them, they have other jobs. You're not in trouble, and you're not gonna like not have a great success week if you don't get on them. But if you can, yes, the more the merrier. How fun. So all day long, you guys message me like, how do I reach out to this person? Hey, this person commented on my Facebook, or what do I say? You have like an open floor right now. Yes, Kathy Rowland, thank you for being brave.
Okay, so this morning when we were on the call, the form, F-O-R-M.
Yep.
Can you give me an example of how you use that? I kind of got it and I kind of didn't.
Yes. Can you role play with me for a minute?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. You know how much I just love that. Yes. Okay.
Okay, good. Because it's a little bit easier than just going through it. But what she's talking about is on the Grow Week. It said, you know, like reach out to new people using form. And that's an acronym for where are you from? That's the F. Mm-hmm. Occupation, what do you do? Trying to figure out for work, right? The R is recreation, like what do you like to do? You're like actually trying to build rapport with them. And then the M is like what motivates you. You're trying to get to like a goal. You're trying to get to an aspiration that they have. So when you think about messaging people, if you don't want to just like send a link and send a video, you have to build rapport. And you have to think of this like dating, right? If you went on a first date and someone just like went in for it, like here I come in with my one night stand and a vengeance, they're like, no, thank you, right? But it's like, hey, where are you from? Where did you go to college? What did you do for work? How did you get into that? Do you have kids? Do you have like this ping pong match that goes back and forth? And granted, it can be a little bit timely. Like at some point you have to figure out how to bring up isogenics. Otherwise 2 days later, you're like, man, I've got 18 pen pals, but I'm not talking about isogenics. Like you do want to figure out how to bring that up. But it's a good couple ways to ask questions so that then you can introduce isogenics, because we're hoping for an answer that then we can have a solution to, or we can have something that would actually inspire them or excite them, okay? So I messaged Kathy, you guys, and this is gonna be verbal, but imagine if we're typing or something, mm-hmm. Or you can do it on the phone too. I mean, like when you think about people that are in sales and they have 100 like smile and dial calls to make, they're using the same type of template, okay? So I messaged Kathy and I'm like, hey, gorgeous, I have no idea how I landed on your page, but I love your recipes. Like I love your Southern humor. I just wanted to introduce myself, right? I'm from Denver. Where are you from?
I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. Denver, I've always wanted to go there.
Oh my gosh, why did you want to come to Denver? I think it's the best state ever. I've also always wanted to go to Charleston. What do you love about it?
Well, Charleston's beautiful, and you know we're like the land of restaurants, and I'm a brunch girl, so I've never met a brunch invitation that I didn't go to. And Denver, I hear, is like scenic.
Oh my gosh, well, it is absolutely beautiful. I'm also a brunch girl and a mimosa girl, and I'm so grateful that I have my nutritional cleansing system that I can brunch all the time and not have to worry about the weight gain.
Nutritional cleansing, what is that? You can go to brunch and not worry about it?
Literally, that's as fast as I would insert it. Like, I know that made all of you uncomfortable. Like, you're like, oh shit, like, would you really do that? I literally will insert it that fast if I hear something like that, because I'm a total foodie, and that's so true. There's so many times I didn't go, or I would like go and be like, can I have egg whites and a side of avocado? Because I was like so afraid to gain weight, where now I can like go and have pancakes and French toast and cleanse later in the week, and it's not going to be a big deal. I literally will insert it that fast sometimes because I am on a mission and I don't want to have 20 pen pals. Okay. Like I really don't, but hypothetically, let's just keep this going for a second so you can see the rest of where it was. Okay. So I don't say it at that point. We talk about brunch. I'm like, Denver's good. Then I'll say something like, I'm like, what do you do? You know, like, what type of line of work are you in?
So I'm gonna say design and not say wellness, since you're in wellness on this thing. Okay. Yeah. So I'm in design.
Awesome. What type of design?
Window treatments. And well, right now I'm doing a course on design a space for wellness, but we're not going there.
So window treatments, right? Just, and so then I would say something like, I'm like, oh, that's cool. I don't know a lot about that. Do you work for yourself or do you work for a company?
Been working for myself for 28 years.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm also an entrepreneur. I love to connect with small business owners. I'm not sure if you keep your options open for residual income, but I would love to tell you what I do. I have seen this be such a safety net for other successful entrepreneurs.
Perfect.
Sometimes I won't even say that, but I'll just be like, hey, I'm also an entrepreneur. I love to set up coffee Zooms to learn more about your business, and I can tell you what I do, and we can refer each other. When's a good day that you can set up a 30-minute coffee appointment with me? Like, I literally will go right into that. And sometimes I'll be like, oh, sweet, I'll talk to you next week, and we'll catch up more. And then we'll have more of it and more on the Zoom. But throughout those different times, and here's what I want you guys to see. So when she first said, I'm a brunch girl, like she gave me the in there because she was talking about it that I could relate. So there's a sales technique called feel, felt, found, right? Where like you relate to them. Like I used to feel the same way and then I found. And so what I said to her was like, oh my gosh, I'm a brunch girl, but I'm so grateful for my nutritional cleansing system now that I don't have to worry about gaining 5 pounds every time I go out and have mimosas or something, right? Because I'm saying enough that it's truthful, but it is going to create curiosity, right? And it's relatable because she's like, man, I'm probably, it's Monday, I'm up 5 pounds from my French toast from yesterday, right? But then the other, then with the business, when I said, what do you do? She said, I'm in design. So had she said, I work for so-and-so company, I would have been like, oh yeah, what do you love about working from corporate America? Or what do you wish you could change? That would have been the question. So it was easy because she works for herself. And entrepreneurs have like this unspoken bond. Like we want to help each other. We understand the hustle. So that was then the question of like, hey, if you keep your options open for residual income, or hey, let's hop on a call so we can refer each other. But had she said, you know, I work for, so I don't even know design companies, but whatever, she listed a company, then I would have asked another question. How long have you been with them? Like, what do you love about working for corporate America? What do you wish you could change? So if she said something like, you know, well, I love my boss, or I love the benefits, you know, but I hate the hours, or I hate that I can't get promoted, or, you know, I hate that whatever. And I would say, hey, I'm not sure if you keep your options open. Then it would be the same thing. I'd love to tell you what I'm up to. I've seen so many busy women just like you absolutely crush what I do, right? Like I'm trying to let her know right away she can do it, because what's the next thing people are going to say? I'm too busy. I don't have time for another job, right? Like I'm already good. But if I say I've seen busy people just like you, because in her head, she goes, oh, I can do it too. I'm busy, but other busy people are doing this, you know? So like using certain verbiage is definitely going to help people, again, believe in you, your credibility, your trust, and be able to go from there. So if we were back to the example, so like, where are you from? We've established, you know, Charleston, South Carolina. She's in design, right? Maybe she said something like when I asked her about the small business thing, that's just hypothetically, she was like, no, I'm good. Like, I'm not really wanting to take anything else on. That's okay. We can keep the conversation going. So then, and I might not even do it that day, right? Maybe it depends, or I might just circle back and just be like, hey, how was your weekend? And then I'm back to like, what is it you like to do? I was like, I know you like to go to brunch. What other things do you like to do? So maybe hypothetically, let's say this is like a week later. Okay. And she's like, oh, I love to swim and I love to bike. And I could say, do you take any products like before you work out or after you work out? Because now I can leave with the products. And she's like, oh, I buy this protein from Amazon. I could say, hey, well, I think I told you I own my own business. It's with a health and wellness company. When you run out, if you're interested in trying something new, I'd love to tell you about what I do. Or if you're curious about some samples, I would love to send you something, right? So now I have this option when I go back to like, what is it that you like to do? And that motivation one, you guys, this can be all over the place, but sometimes I'll literally say, you know, one of my favorite questions to ask people, if time and money were of no issue, what would you be doing? And allow people to tell you their dreams. People don't get asked this. People's dreamers are off, right? Like they don't get asked that. And to be able to like tap the tip of the iceberg to like, what do they really want to be doing? You know, and like, what is their possibility? Because again, then we can vision cast for them. Like I'll ask them something of like, hey, like this is such a crazy season. And I know my year didn't go anywhere the way I thought it was going to be. What was something you really wanted to accomplish in 2020? Right? What's something that you want to do before the rest of the year is over? You know, it's like crazy. We're already into Q3, but just be able to ask questions. That's the motivation. Like allow them to tell you something, because someone will tell you like, oh, I really wanted to lose 40 pounds this year, but you know, screw quarantine. I've gained 20 extra pounds on top of it. We have a way to help them. You know, someone will say to you like, oh, well, I thought I was going to get a promotion this year, but I was laid off. And I'll say something like, you know, I'm so sorry that happened to you. I believe everything happens for a reason. You know, I was introduced to my company during a really challenging time, and who knows, maybe this is something that could help you right now. And you just have to be really unattached to the outcome, because as many people are as excited, a lot of people are not. And a lot of people are, is it MLM? Are you selling me something? No, thank you. Like, who cares? Let them miss out right now. They'll come back to you, right? And you just keep going and you just keep reaching out. But that's the way that form works, because you're asking questions and figuring out how to introduce Isagenix. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, do you guys want to do one more? Is it helpful? Do you want to do one more? Okay, so Laura, just because I know you're unmuted and you're there. So I messaged Laura, right? And I'm like, I have no idea how I landed on your page, but I crack up every time I see a post from you about a dog or a coffee, you know? And I was like, I'm a total coffee girl, and I just wanted to reach out and introduce myself.
And I would say, thank you so much for reaching out. Hello.
Totally. So then I would say something like, where are you from? And I was like, I'm a Denver girl.
I live in St. Louis.
That's awesome. Are you from St. Louis, or do you just currently live there? She's a toughie.
We moved here 5 years ago.
Awesome. What made you move to St. Louis?
My husband's job.
Awesome. What does he do?
He was with Enterprise, but he's no longer with them.
Oh, did something recently happen because of COVID, or why is he no longer with Enterprise? My sister and brother-in-law used to work for Enterprise.
No, there we go. We're making connections. He worked for Enterprise for 26 years and left the company last year and opened up his own insurance agency.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I also own my own business. Are you also self-employed?
Yes. Yes, I work from home.
What is it that you do?
I'm in health and wellness. See, I don't know, like.
But this is okay, because you guys, I recruit people from other companies all the time. Like I really do.
I'm in health and wellness.
Oh my gosh, I'm in health and wellness too. What got you into the industry?
I just got really passionate about nutrition and I love it.
I mean, that's a little awkward, obviously, we're talking, but you can go with that. And I'll ask things like, you know, did you experience some health issues that got you into that? You know, did you experience a career burnout that you wanted to get into this? And I think there's the main thing when you're doing this is you want to obviously share a little bit about you, because you are building connection, but you want to keep asking questions, right? Like this is about them, and you are putting the focus on them. Nobody ever gets to have the platform, and no one wants to be cold messaged and just listen to you, right? So if you found yourself that you're like, I was introduced to this thing and I've lost 20 pounds and I have all this energy and I'm making all this money and I have all these friends and I believe in personal development, and they're like, what the F? Like, thank you, no thank you. Like, you read your messages and like, how short was this? Like, how long is it going to take for them to read? Am I talking about me, or am I getting to know them? Right? This is not about us. There's just a little bit. So I threw in there like, oh, my sister and brother-in-law used to work for Enterprise, you know, like based on where she said what branch, I would have been like, oh, they're in California, to see if there was an overlap. She didn't do that one. So we're on to the next question. But I do message people, you guys, that are in Lavelle, that are in Pro Tandem, that are in Shakeology or whatnot, because people only know what they know. I haven't said this analogy in a really long time, but if people are only eating at Taco Bell and no one has ever been introduced to Chipotle, like people need to know about Chipotle, right? And that's how I feel about Isogenics. Like if they only know what they know, we can still tell people. And if they're like, hey, I'm happy in my company, awesome. Let's continue to celebrate each other. This business is amazing. This profession is amazing. And I'm cheering you on. And I love that you're cheering me on too, right? But often when you get on the phone with someone or a message with someone and they don't know about the quality of their products, or their compensation plan is not great, or they don't have the solutions that we have or whatever, you can still definitely introduce people to Isogenics. And I've had a lot of people like in a CBD company that have one product and I'm like, that's awesome. Like, you know, wish you the best of luck with it. What are you doing for your weight loss goals? Like, what are you doing for your overall wellness? Like, do you take vitamins and minerals right now? Like, have you ever done a nutritional cleanse? I'm like, hey, you can still build this business, but I think you would feel amazing if your energy was off the charts, right? If you had like this 10 out of 10 confidence every single day, like you might even just want to check out the products. Like I shop from other companies, okay? So you can have a customer even if they're building a business somewhere else. Like I'm never selling cleaning supplies. Mark my words. I am never selling cleaning supplies, but I like Norwex. I think they have great stuff, right? I use it. Before we had our own oils, I bought things from Young Living, you know, like I have bought things from Mary Kay. Like I've tried to like support other network marketers and they support me. So just because someone's in another company doesn't mean you can't build a relationship. It's like the same way like restaurants, right? Like some people have wine, some people have beer. They're not like, the beer company is not like, oh, they're never gonna want us in the restaurant. They already have wine. Like there's a different need for different people. And that's where like, it's so important to be unattached to the outcome, like truly, and just really focus on service. We're just excited and we just want people to be a part of it. But when you really believe like Isogenics is the best company, which I do, not just from the compensation plan, not just from our culture, but from our products and what we can offer people, you're right. If someone's looking for like reusable paper towels, we cannot help them. But if they're looking for collagen, they're looking for vitamins, they're looking for a cleanse, they're looking for a pre-workout, they're looking for kids nutrition. Like we have so many solutions. You just have to be bold that like you want this in everybody's pantry because you know what it does for them. Like if you guys saw it, I wish it was on the call right now. If you look at my wall today, Jill's transformation, like that brings tears to my eyes. Like, are you freaking kidding me? Since June? Like, think about how many months or whatever she was uncomfortable and what we can do for people. Like, literally, that's like, there are not enough people in the world for me to reach out to in a day to get them to feel the way that she does right now. That's what we do for people. When we get paid on Mondays and people screenshot and they're like, is this for real? Like I have a single mom in Florida right now that made a couple $100 in her first few weeks. And she's like, is this for real? That's for real, babe. Like that excites me. And that's the place you have to come from. If you're like, oh, they're already with another company, I can't message them. You're worried about what they think about you. And you're not worried about the livelihood and the impact you can have on them, in my opinion. Okay, any others? Maybe one or two more before we hop off. Or we can say goodnight. And you guys, if you feel more comfortable in the smaller groups, get on the Grow Week. Like get on the power hours, you know, so you can ask me when I say, hey, put an engagement post up and message the 10 people, because then you're gonna go, what do I message them? I'm gonna say, remember on the team call when you had an opportunity to ask me, right? So I'll give you a little freebie and then we're gonna say goodnight. But get on there because I will help you. But I asked last night strategically, I'm gonna buy an Instapot. Or not an Instapot, I don't want one of those. What did I buy, Laura? An air fryer. I did really buy it. But I was like, I'm gonna buy an air fryer. Which one should I get? Because what happens is all these people comment and like, and you're like, oh, I forgot that I was friends with Barbara. I forgot I was friends with Maria. Like I forgot I was even friends with Paula on Facebook, that it opens up a conversation. So I wrote Paula and I was like, hey, thank you so much for the recommendation for the air fryer. I I'm overwhelmed with this decision making and I appreciate your input. And she's gonna say something like, no problem, we love ours, I'm happy to help. Then one of two things can happen. I either start to have a conversation, right? Like we just went over, how are you? How's your family doing? How's your job? how's your health? How's your this? Then I could be like, hey, I don't know if you've seen, but we're getting ready to do a 9-day cleanse before Labor Day. If you want, you should hop in and do this reset with us, okay? But remind you, this conversation started because she solicited a certain air fryer for me to buy. But if you don't pay attention to who's liking and commenting, you're missing out on people that are already in your network. This keeps you from standing in the vitamin store at Whole Foods trying to become best friends with people, right? There are people already in your network to have the conversation with. The second thing, let's just say that I messaged her and was like, hey, thanks. She's like, oh, you're welcome. And I fell asleep that night, or I went to yoga or whatever, that I forgot about it. The algorithm of Facebook, when there is direct messages going back and forth, that is the highlight of what people see in their feed and vice versa. So now, tomorrow morning, when I post Jill's before and after picture, guess who sees it? Not the same 4% that typically follow. Paula's like, dang, that girl looks awesome. I don't look so awesome after being shelter at home for a few months. I wonder if she can help me. She'll say, hey, I saw that girl's transformation. Do you know what she did? Sure did. What health goals do you have, right? Like, people are going to talk to you, but you have to be engaging them. Like, you have to be paying attention. And I will leave you with one other thing outside of my public wall. I do this in groups all day long. Like, when I tell you, you want to have more leads than time. You want to have more people to be talking to than you have the time to. I mean that. So for example, I post in the Peloton page, hey, what rides have you done this week that are baller? Like, what classes do I need to take? Like, I'm all fired up, you know, post-wedding. I want some kick-ass workouts. What should I take? And then everybody tells me, take Cody's class, take Emma's class. They're all blowing it up. I've already probably planned my workouts for the week, in all honesty. However, I mean, sometimes I get excited because there's ones I don't see, but it's a conversation. And then I'll message her, right? And I'll be like, you know, like, hey, Paula, it's Lauren. We're in the Peloton page. Thank you so much for recommending Robin's class. Have you already taken it? Like, let's take it again. Let's sign up. Let's do the leaderboard together. Or I'll be like, hey, I think we have the same style. I did the Whitney Houston ride. Check it out. You know, like, it was super fun. I PR'd. Again, we're having this conversation. Boop, friend request, right? She's like, oh, that's the girl from the Peloton. Friend accepted. Sometimes I may bring it up right then about what I'm doing, often not, right? Like, 3 girls that I enrolled a couple weeks ago are all from the Peloton page. People that I had said exactly that, like a class, do whatever. Then they saw me posting and they said, hey, I don't know what you do, but it looks like you help people with their weight loss goals. I've plateaued. Can you help me? Sure can. When can you chat, right? People are seeing your stuff, but you have to add value. So if you're in a gardening group, right? I post things. I post about the fungicide that we bought that helped get rid of all my mushrooms, right? People chime in about it. Then I ask questions. But if I send a friend request, they're like, oh, she's the one that helped with the mushroom thing. Sometimes I bring up isogenics, sometimes I don't, right? Then when Penny on my reach outs is like, call Kari. And I'm like, wonder who Kari is, right? And I have to like go through, I'm like, I think we're friends from the bonus mom group. I'm not sure. So I'll say, I don't remember how I connected with you. And often they go, I don't either. Then I say, what do you do? And we just have a conversation. Or sometimes they go, oh, I think you friended me in the bonus mom group. You helped me with blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, awesome. They remembered me. Score. Sorry, I forgot. I'm friends with a lot of people on social media. And you just roll with it, okay? But this like ability to like always have people to talk to is so important. So when you're like, what do I say? It doesn't always have to be with isogenics. It's literally just building relationships. And if you don't know how to make friends, network marketing is going to be really hard for you. And if you know how to make friends, like you're the type of person that can talk to someone in the grocery store, when you go to the bar, you make new friends. If you join a club, if you go to church, when you go to your kids' sporting activities, right? Just talk to these people like you would talk to them if you were not talking about isogenics, and allow it to come up organically, okay? So you guys are awesome. I'm super excited for this week. I can't wait to just celebrate everybody who goes after the 2.0 promo. Have an amazing Monday, and I will be online tomorrow night for another power hour. Bye, you guys.